Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Today we brought you to the Englishman River Estuary, which is located in Parksville, British Columbia. And we're going to be taking a little walk down to the estuary today and see what we find and talk a little bit about why estuaries are so important to the ecosystem.
This week's core competency, in accordance with the BC curriculum, is questioning and investigating from the thinking core competency. So let's get started. Let's go see what we can find.
Hey guys, okay, we've reached the river behind us here. As you can see, it's just beautiful here. The water is really gorgeous. It's a green color, nice and clear, and it's rushing. Well, of course, it's the spring, so it's a higher flow. Yeah, just a beautiful, beautiful area. We're not at the ocean yet. We can't see the ocean. It just looks like we're in the middle of the woods. You wouldn't know the ocean was here.
Yeah, it's beautiful. We've got a couple of mergansers watching here, which is a species of bird that we get at home at Piper's Lagoon as well, so it's nice to see those guys here. Just a beautiful spot. It is definitely taking all of my self-control not to go swimming, but I'm not prepared for that, so I'm not going to.
An estuary is the meeting place of a freshwater body, such as a river or a creek or a stream, into a saltwater body, an ocean. And this is a place of great biodiversity because the freshwater brings sediments from all across the river, all up in the mountains, maybe where the river originates, coming all the way down. It carries all this nutrients with it, and it meets to the ocean and brings all its nutrients with it, and there's a great big biodiversity, essentially kind of like a feeding frenzy, this big explosion of life based on the sediment that the river's bringing down, meeting the fresh water, meeting the salt water, and a lot of life occurs there.
Almost to the ocean.
The estuary.
We've reached it.
So you can see behind us here, you can see some of these great big pieces of wood. This is actually a pretty common marker of estuaries because estuaries are going to be carrying things down the river and then they get stuck on the sandbars here. So it looks like a big graveyard of big trees. We're going to go take a closer look and take you with us. Okay, so we're down on the water's edge. So we're gonna have a little look around and see what's down here. You can see here we're right in front of a great big marsh, just like you'd see marsh grasses. This is likely a salt marsh, although we're not 100% sure. And so marshes are a common area around estuaries in that some of the water that is brought down by the river gets kind of squashed to the side a little bit and creates a lowland here that is, as we talked about, with that sediment being brought down the river, this area is really high in nutrients and leads to a lot of grass growing here. So it's a dense jungle of marsh grass here behind us. Okay, so we're here on the estuary's edge. We're actually not going down there because estuaries are really delicate environments, and so there's fences and signs up here that say please don't go down there. We're going to respect those for sure, and those are there for folks who have not watched our beach etiquette video and don't know that estuaries are delicate ecosystems and they shouldn't take their dogs to run loose down there. So we're going to stay up here, but you can see the estuary behind us stretching out. See all those great big trees there that the river has brought down many years ago. And see all those grasses, and this area is going to be really important for shorebirds, invertebrates, all kinds of animals. So we stopped here to point out a truly invasive species. This is Scotch broom, very recognizable by its bright yellow flowers. You'll see them all over the place here. They're brought over because they are quite beautiful. However, they are invasive and they grow everywhere. They are so bad for this ecosystem. They can fill up a niche in the environment and just take over. And this is because they're capable of producing their own nitrogen. And this means that they are going to be growing with worse conditions than a lot of other plants could sustainably survive in. And so it's really important that you get involved in your community with getting rid of this plant. Here in Nanaimo, or I guess we're not in Nanaimo right now, but where Emily and I live, in Nanaimo, there's an organization called Broom Busters. If you live in Nanaimo, I highly recommend looking into it. And you're able to go and get rid of all the broom in your community and learn about where it is in other places and go help out and eradicate it. It is important, if you are getting rid of it, to take it while it is in bloom. Otherwise, you'll leave seedlings and even more will grow. This spot right here is called brackish water, and it is a mix of fresh and salt water. So you can see a whole bunch of different species in here. There's a ton of algae growing. You see some of those species of seaweed that we talked about a few weeks ago. And there's just going to be so much life here. We can see a number of different types of fish. We've seen some crabs. There's going to be so much life here, and this is really the true estuary spot, is this brackish water that's going to be making up the majority of it. So this here is an arbutus tree. For those of you who live on Vancouver Island, you may very well recognize this tree. This is a very interesting species. So arbutus lose this bark every year, and it's actually, you can write on it, it's just like paper. So I'm not hurting the tree by peeling it off. The tree peels it off naturally at this time of year. And it also will drop its leaves in the summer and will also drop like pollen little buds essentially. This part of the tree is really what it's famous for, this beautiful kind of mix of orange and light green. And this here, it's so smooth, it feels like it's already been made into a table. It feels like that smooth, and then the bark is rough. These trees are known to grow in this kind of arcing shape. They can grow in really crazy shapes actually, and are common along the Gulf Islands and southern and central Vancouver Islands. They don't generally grow further north. It gets too wet and cold for them. They like a little bit of a warmer summer. But they are a beautiful tree. They do make a ton of mess though because they drop so many things. So a lot of people don't like them in their yards, but they are a natural part of the ecosystem, and I think they're a beautiful tree. Alright, so we're down on the riverbed. That main part of the river is just behind me. This is a little tributary, so it's going to go along and meet up with the river. When it was a real rainy season, you could see that the river would be full along here. This part would just be rushing
onto that big grassland that we talked about earlier. Well, thanks for tuning in today, guys. We should have mentioned this at the beginning of the video, but we did want to say that we are on the traditional territory of the Coast Salish First Nation, and it's a beautiful spot here. So thanks for joining us on our video about estuaries and some of the forests and some of the rivers, just exploring this lovely, lovely spot.
Thanks guys, have a great week.